Speaking at the Center for Strategic and International Studies Monday, Deputy Defense Secretary William Lynn said DoD is considered one of the best prepared agencies to deal with the cyber threat, but it can do better. Secretary Lynn outlined some of the DoD's initiatives to improve its readiness. The first is increasing the number of trained cyber experts.
So our budget for fiscal year 2010 includes funding to more than triple the number of experts we graduate to 250 per year.
Next is to improve capabilities through training.
DARPA, which helped invent the internet decades ago, is leading our effort to build a national cyber range, in effect a model of the internet. This will allow us to engage in real-world simulations and develop, test, and field new leap-ahead capabilities for cybersecurity.
Secretary Lynn said DoD is also considering a new command to take the lead on cybersecurity. General Stanley McChrystal took command of U.S. and NATO forces in Afghanistan Monday during a ceremony in Kabul. General McChrystal pledged to do his best to minimize the number of Afghan civilians killed during the fighting.
Each of us, from rifleman to regional commander, from village to city, must execute our mission with the realization that displaying respect, cultural sensitivity, accountability, and transparency are essential to gaining the support and trust of the Afghan people. If we gain that trust, we cannot lose. If we lose that trust, we cannot win.
General McChrystal assumes command as more than 21,000 additional U.S. troops deployed to Afghanistan between now and October. About 75% of active duty military members rent their homes, and with the rise in foreclosures, many renters are finding themselves with no place to live, even when they're current on payments. Petty Officer Christina Moore explains how a new bill passed by Congress establishes provisions that ensure these renters are protected.
The new Protecting Tenants at Foreclosure Act, recently signed into law by President Obama, standardizes the rights tenants have if they find their landlord has been foreclosed on, and it also helps give more protection to tenants.
Often they find that out at the last minute, and they're forced to leave. And this provides them some particular rights, some important rights, so they're not kicked out on the street with no notice. Because what the law says is that the new person who takes over after foreclosure, the new owner, they can't kick you out if your lease is still valid.
Colonel Sean Shoemake, Director of the Office of Legal Policy, says under most circumstances, this new law will allow renters to stay in their homes until the end of their lease. But he does caution there are a couple of exceptions.
If they're going to move into the house themselves, so that the person who buys it after foreclosure is going to actually live there, then they can move you out if they give you 90 days notice.
The other exceptions are if the tenant's lease ends, if it's a month-to-month lease, or if a particular state law says the lease can be terminated, then the tenant must move. But Colonel Shoemake says the new owner is still required to give 90 days notice. Colonel Shoemake also emphasized for the service members who are required to vacate their homes due to their landlord facing foreclosure, the military amended the Joint Federal Travel Regulations, or JFTR, to offer them greater financial assistance.
We realized that there was a big need there because service members were getting foreclosed on, and they were being forced out with the requirement that they do so and move on their own dime. So we amended the Joint Federal Travel Regulation to say that indeed if your landlord is foreclosed on and you're forced to move, then we'll pay for that local move.
Colonel Shoemake also says service members and their dependents who have questions about the new Protecting Tenants at Foreclosure Act or the changes to the JFTR should see their closest legal assistance office. Reporting from the Pentagon, I'm Petty Officer Christina Moore.
Coming up on Around the Services, we'll show you a rite of passage of sorts for soldiers completing Ranger School in Georgia, if you can stomach it. But first, we'll take you to the Pocono 500 and NASCAR.